Hey guys, I'm Ben and welcome to my final wrap up of 2022. Of course, many of you may have already seen my top 20 plus albums of 2022, but of course, as often happens with these things, albums that might have made the main list and are deserving of attention can easily slip through the cracks and get missed. I was reviewing a ton of albums for Sea of Tranquility, the online webzine this year, as well as new and old stuff for the channel, and also continuing my discovery of past glories just for my own personal enjoyment. Needless to say, I listened to a shitload of albums this year, so it was inevitable that I wouldn't and couldn't get to everything. Most years, though, I don't come across so many standouts after making my list like I have this year. So I've decided to make this list of my 10 albums of 2022 that I missed. Some of these would be very likely to have made my favorites list if I'd heard them in time. So anyway, these are all pretty loosely ranked as well. So, don't get too hung up on the order. They're all great albums, and I've even included a couple of EPs in the list. So technically they're not all albums, but there you go, shit happens. Before we get started with the list though, I just want to give a quick shout out to a good buddy of mine. Since making this channel, one of the best rewards has been making some great new friends through it. People like Pete Pardo at Sea of Tranquility, Stevie Turnbull, who has the Motherfuckers of Metal Facebook group, and it's the best Facebook group. If you love metal, all genres welcome. They love discussing all things metal, so go over there and check it out and join that group. It's fucking awesome. And the man I really want to discuss today is a guy called Roy Bar Nachum. Stage name, Shitty. And yes, he's a Voivod fan. I think you can tell. Roy has been prolifically creating truly underground instrumental insanity out of his home studio here in Israel of recent years. His project is called Buka Umavluka, and here's a little taste.
There are terrible things afoot under the surface of our society, and the perpetrators are coming for you, and coming for us.
Civilization is going to crumble. Mark my words.
The music of Buka draws on many influences like Holocaust, Psy, Sadist, thrash and death metal, black metal, and is truly avant-garde. He also brings in electronic and almost industrial elements at times that create a truly intense and surreal ride. Buka is both insane and enticing, while always being fun and entertaining as well. Currently he's working on the debut release, but he's totally independent, so go check out his stuff on YouTube or SoundCloud and give him some support. Also, if any labels watch this, give him some love too and sign the guy. I'll post links down in the description of all, his music that's available online, and so yeah, go check it out, guys. Anyway, let's get into this list. In the 10th place, with my first choice, I want to give some love to, well, I guess another friend of sorts. I don't know him personally like those other guys, but we are friends and have spoken on Facebook a fair few times. And I'm a big fan of his main project. That man is Canadian Patrick Loisel. the frontman behind the amazing tech death band Augury. He released his first solo project this year called Meerfolk with the EP Democell. I'm a slow convert to black metal and everything black metal adjacent with very few exceptions. However, this year, it kind of has started to change, I have to say. I'm still not really gushing over your pure old school black metal stuff. However, more and more I'm finding things from that world that do resonate with me. Democell is one of them. I really like the raw energy that Patrick has summoned up here. He plays everything on this album: drums, guitar, bass, all the atmospherics, all that stuff, everything. I think he has maybe a couple of guest spots, like some female vocals and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's all him. And between the murky production and the hypnotic melodies, I find the whole thing puts me into a trance-like state. Anyone familiar with Patrick's other band, Augury, knows how well he can write savagely brutal riffs while merging them with catchy and memorable melodies. That talent is on display here, but in a completely different way. Anyway, this is almost as underground as Buka that I mentioned before, but if you like blackened, deathy, murky melodies, then go check this one out. Next, we have the UK's Crick Squaw with their EP, Zoetrope. So this is probably the most insane and unhinged release on the list. Crick Squaw have delivered a single 24-minute track that, like the album cover suggests, spirals the listener through various moods and levels of darkness and extremity. They managed to create such a monumental feeling of chaos and oppression that has a cosmic scale to it. Mixing their black metal pummeling with almost Western classical music that is used to really create the feeling of descending into hell. It's very captivating and very unsettling, yet authoritative and terrifying. Zoetrope is definitely not for the faint-hearted, but for the lovers of extreme music and experience you need to have. Go check it out. The next one will probably surprise you. It surely surprised me, that's for sure, when I heard it. But to my shock, I'm including the new Soulfly album entitled Totem. As a huge fan of old Sepultura, especially Beneath the Remains and Arise, and somewhat less, but Chaos AD as well, I always loved hearing Max Cavalera's bellowing voice over the top of some killer thrashing death metal, and that's exactly what we get on most of this surprisingly badass album. There are moments that border on the generic, that's true. However, there are also plenty of extra elements from guitar sounds, drum patterns, and world instruments that give the whole thing the extra sauce that makes this one so damn enjoyable. So if you're like me and never really liked Soulfly but loved the classic Sepultura, then definitely go check this one out. Okay, number 7. Next, we have Phobophilic with Enveloping Absurdity. This is an album that seems to be making a bit of a mark this year, and I can see why. Phobophilic, which means something like lover of fear, have managed to channel classic, old school, brutal death metal, yet make it sound fresh and engaging. This is brutal, straight for the jugular shit, replete with headbanging grooves and killer riff ideas, and from all reports, they also are killing it live. This is the band's debut album, and if they continue with this quality or even improve, they will most definitely be a band to watch in the long term. Definitely go check this one out if you like your old school death metal, fucking brutal and awesome and riffy and just killer. Next, we have the Ukrainian band White Ward with False Light. So this is another album I've seen featured on many end of the year lists, either topping them or coming damn close. White Ward are an experimental black metal band that could also wear the avant-garde moniker quite comfortably. An album dripping with heavy conceptual ideas, drawing on works of people like Jack Kerouac and Carl Jung, and exploring everything from governmental corruption, the emptiness of cities and modern culture, and overconsumerism, amongst other things. Musically, though, is what it's all about for me. Moving effortlessly between black metal chordal intensity to stripped back modern jazz meanderings, and even goth-inspired clean vocals at times. It requires a deep knowledge of music to create this music, and it shows on the impressive compositions throughout False Light. This one is being spoken about a lot this year, so most of you have probably already heard this one. But if not, definitely go check it out and prepare for a fantastic yet intense journey. At number 5, we have the Indianapolis natives, Democell, I think that's how you say the name, with Chaotic Lethal. So this is another band that was new to me, and I have to say I'm thoroughly impressed. This is just unrelenting, brutal death thrash at its finest. Definitely with some Slayer vibes, but with much better soloing, I think. The songs, don't hold back at all. Sometimes leaning into a more punk and hardcore vibe, others it's pure death metal savagery. But the thrash is always there, holding it all together. This really comes out swinging and just scores hits to your fucking nuts and your cranium, and as you pass out with the taste of blood in your mouth, hitting the floor before passing out, you fucking look up and thank the fucking metal gods for thrash metal and shit like this. So go check it out. Number 4, Next, we have Atlanta's own Tomarum with Ash in Realms of Stone Icons. This is another band I was unfamiliar with until the other day, but wow, these guys have really impressed me with this one. Their mix of despair-inducing black metal with tech death or tech death adjacent riffs and solos, as well as their top-tier composition and arrangements, make this album an absolute standout. The pain and longing is very much present throughout, yet unlike similar albums in this genre, they don't reside only in the melancholy musically. The technical riffs mixed with the black metal makes it so much more exciting and impactful. There are standout performances from everyone throughout, but especially the bass and guitar players are really making it interesting and exciting. If you aren't the biggest black metal fan, like me, but don't mind opening up to it a little, then this is a great album to check out. Definitely recommended. Next, hailing from the fertile soil of Greece, we have Aeneon with Mnemosyne.
For committing, scented to fear, the only fate of peace, dark and overlaid.
This was actually recommended to me in the comment section from my last video, the Best of 2022 list video by a guy just with the name David. So a big thanks to you, David, for pointing me in the right direction with this one. He thought it would be something I would like, and he was dead on. This is a fantastic mix of progressive black and death metal with plenty of modern jazz and avant-garde experimentations to make this a very unique and exciting listen. The sax solos are legitimately great, and the mood that these guys are setting throughout is truly dynamic and really takes you on a sonic adventure. The title of the album refers to the Greek goddess of the same name who represents remembrance and the river of memories. And through this lens, they explore noir aesthetics and emotional extremity. Very cool stuff. Definitely go check it out. Next, we have two albums I should have known were coming out, but somehow I completely missed them to my gigantic chagrin. Luckily, though, I haven't missed the boat altogether because here we are and I have finally discovered them, or discovered that they came out anyway. So the first of these two was from the Mexican underground legends, the Chasm, with The Scars of a Lost Reflective Shadow. So yeah, anyone familiar with these guys knows that they have a long history of great borderline progressive old school death metal. I say borderline because they put a lot into their songs compositionally. The songs often go on some long journeys, but these journeys do always stay firmly on the path of killer death metal and of the often more brutal and atmospheric side. What you get with these guys is great atmosphere throughout, killer riffing that is both headbang inducing but also very dynamic and interesting and imaginative. That, combined with a great sense of subtle melody and energetic delivery, makes this new album an absolute killer. The Chasm never misses the mark, and once again, the same can be said here. Killer album, definitely go check it out. And number one, finally, the second album I should have known about is from one of the coolest and most unique bands in metal, and I absolutely love them. I'm talking about Japan's finest artistic export, Psy, with their album Shiki. So those familiar with these guys will know what I mean when I say that Psy are very hard to describe for new people. Any description makes it sound like it would be a jumbled mess of stylistic confusion and seemingly impossible to make something like that anything remotely more than just an impressive novelty. However, nothing can be further from the truth when it comes to Psy. Their foundation is black metal. However, they have thrown everything you can imagine into the mix as well over the years. Everything from 70s prog rock sounds to stadium guitar solos to symphonic progressive metal to reggae to electronic to punk and much, much more. Really much more. As I said, on paper, it should be a mess. But in the extremely talented and capable hands of Mirai Kawashima and his extremely talented entourage of musicians, he makes it just sound so easy and natural, like it's meant to be that way. That's the way you should make music. One moment he's assaulting your ears in Japanese over a doom metal riff. The next you're chilling with some jazz passage, and before you know it, you're headbanging the walls again. On Shiki, there are some absolute standouts that you need to hear if you are new to the band. Definitely check out the doomy Kurei Kage. Sorry if I'm butchering. I'm butchering the Japanese, okay? Let's just be frank. I'm fucking butchering. I butcher all the fucking languages. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, guys. But it's Kuroi Kage. Second track on the album anyway, which has some great riffing, doomy riffing from Frederick Leclerc, from Creator, actually, who is handling all the guitars on this album and absolutely killing it too. But also check out the amazing drumming from Mike Heller from Fear Factory, who's truly masterful throughout. Another absolute standout of this album is the drumming. Another favorite is the epic saga that is called Satsui Geshi no Ato. Again, sorry. Absolutely non-stop explosive with some Japanese flavored opera choruses thrown in there for good measure. Some ghetto sounding harpsichord. Yes, what the fuck is that? But it's awesome. And Frederick's solos, of course, rule too. Also, Mirai plays a myriad of traditional Japanese instruments besides his fantastic keyboard playing throughout the album. Really, I can't say enough good things about Shiki. I think once again they've delivered an absolute masterpiece to sit alongside their others like Hail Horror Hail and Imaginary Sonicscape. I can't recommend this masterpiece highly enough. If you have an open mind, then don't sleep on Psy and go check it out. Anyway, guys, that's it for another year. There were many great albums that didn't quite make it onto my lists, but that are great nonetheless. Bands like Psychroptic, Exhumed, Cosmic Putrefaction, Queensryche, Destroyer 666, Origin, and really many more all put out great albums this year as well. But of course you can't get to everything. Anyway, let's hope we get even more greatness in 2023 for us greedy, metal-loving motherfuckers. Anyway, guys, have a happy new year. Thanks for watching. Stay metal, and see you next time.